Hey, I hope you all had a good weekend. And now that this weekend is over, we're approaching the week of Thanksgiving. I know many of you can't wait to get off work. I think a lot of you want to be off work and go to where you are originally from, which is the place where your families are at, or go visit families and friends and feast Thanksgiving dinner, which nothing wrong with it because Thanksgiving for me, I actually do like it. I like Thanksgiving and like being interacting with family, and you know the big part of Thanksgiving is turkeys. Yeah, I love me some good turkey, barbecue turkey to the most. If any of you ever had grilled barbecue turkey, I recommend that you try it. I talking about know somebody know how to barbecue a grilled one, like from the barbecue pit. My lord, I'm just reminiscing on that. But speaking of family, now that I'm mentioning Thanksgiving and people visiting family, you ever had a situation where you might lose a loved one, probably parents or siblings or friends, in an apparent death? They may, they probably died unfortunately from an accident, or you might have some people die of natural causes. We all have that. Even I have been in a situation where I actually lost somebody who meant a lot to me, and every now and then I thought about that person who was my grandmother. She instilled in me a lot of values and morals, and I can proudly say I'm this woman that helped instill all kind of values and morals in me. I'm totally grateful. Even now that she's been passed for like going on 5 years, I still think about her at times. And also, I want to add too that some people might even experience a loss in friendship. You might have friendship with somebody, you might lost them because of certain things that happen, and y'all been friends for so long, just to find out that that person wasn't really truly your friend because they stabbed you in the back and it hurt you and torn you up of it. Or you probably went through a breakup or a divorce. I think many of you probably been through a breakup and had your first heartbroken as a kid or as an adolescent. The typical age where a lot of breakups happen, and some people who never experienced a harsh breakup never dealt with the pain and the blowback from it. I have, and let me tell you, it took a while for me to cope with it. But that's what the topic of this short little show right here, this short little video I'm doing right here. They say time heal all wounds. I know you heard that saying before, or time heal things. Give it some time. Time is the best medicine for healing. Which vaguely, I won't say vaguely, but it's which mostly a majority of the time it makes sense. You cut yourself or scrape yourself in the arm. Give it some time and it'll heal back to where you could barely see it. You may had a person that broke up with you and broke your heart, especially the time you invested in that person. It could be years or maybe months, and you open up to that person just to find out that person didn't love you like you thought that person did, and it hurt you, and you remember all the good times you shared with that person, which is very natural, very very natural to be upset. But give it some months, so it depends on the person. It could be years, because that person might find out that person is true love. It'll be as if somebody mentioned that person name or something reminds you of it, you think like, you know what, I used to do this in my last relationship, that was funny, and you forget about it just that quick, and that due to time. But you got some people say things like, well, time don't really heal all things, because I lost my mom about 5 years ago, and at times it still hurt. And I see you got some people who lost their parents 10 years ago, and at times they still thinking about them and miss them. And some people, like I say, some people grieve longer. Well, my point with that is, when I say time heal things or they heal all wounds, I wouldn't say that you wouldn't reminisce on that and think more about it, but you manage to cope with it. You able to live on with your life, because after all, life goes on, and you able to cope with it more. You can you can you able to go about your day. You can eat well properly. You won't probably miss as much sleep due to a loss of loved one or a breakup or a divorce or anything that hurt you, whether it's physically or mentally. You still feel that little pain, but it wouldn't be as severe. You still manage to live your life. And of course, you probably wouldn't be the same person as you were before you lose somebody like your mom or your dad or your brother or sister or cousins or any kind of close family members. It it wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't be the same person as you were, probably cheerfully and godly. You might still be cheerful and godly, might be the same person, but in a way, it can kind of change your life to a degree, especially somebody who's close, like your intermediate family. That means you're going to have to manage your life without that person, without talking to that person. Same thing goes with marriage or either relationships. You and that person used to do things for a long time. Y'all used to hang out with that person. You couldn't go anywhere if that person come with you. Because I used to been like that. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to go to this movies and see that movie until she come with me, because I feel more at ease if she's in the movies with me. Or you might remember certain things like, you know what, my girlfriend used to make uh, a good dipping sauce for the chips. Every time I have some chips over, I ask her, could she make a dipping sauce. She'd be gladly make a good dipping sauce for me to eat it. And now that she's gone, I won't be able to taste that dipping sauce anymore, and that can kind of draw back sadness and everything, because in your mind you miss that person. But as time progresses, you'll be able to manage without that person. That's one funny thing about time. You think that your life wouldn't be the same. Your life going to be messed up. You can't manage to go on because a loved one passed, or you've been through a breakup or a divorce or any kind of thing that happened that torn you up. You think that you won't be able to progress. And as time go by, you say to yourself, you know what? I can't believe I was fretting over this woman that broke my heart a few years ago. And a little bit of personal information about me. I've been engaged before. So somebody who I thought I was going to marry. But at that time I was younger. And let me tell you, when she called it off over, she got mad, and then I found out that she, I guess, moved on to somebody else. It tore me to shreds. Like, I thought I wasn't never gonna get over it. And 2 years later, I was still fretting and hurting over that. I still have my sad moments because of that. Because everything that I made a mistake of investing too much, giving her, identify myself with her. That's the mistake I made. And also base my happiness off of her. In which, in fact, what I should have done is, which in fact the real reason is, my happiness, I was happy before I met her. That's a good thought you got to have. Before I met her, my happiness was good. But now that when I got with her, I feel that, I just made a mistake of identifying myself with her, and don't have in the back of my mind that she have the right to leave me anytime she wants. And let me tell you, it tore me to shreds. But I managed to cope with it for years, and now that don't even bother me, don't phase me no more. And I even think back at it, I'm like, you know what? Time does heal things, because I don't feel bitter or anything, especially if somebody mentioned her name. I'm like, oh well. Now, when it comes to like physical pain, like you might have a cut, you might have a knife, a knife stab, or you might have a bullet shot. Well, I don't know anything about street stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't know, but I don't ever get into no kind of violence. But let's just say you've been cut by a glass and you got cut deep. In time, it will heal, but all parts of it wouldn't heal because you might still have a scar from that. And going back to myself, when I was like 9 years old, because this happened back in the 90s, I was playing outside and my uncle, he was cutting grass. A piece of clothes, I think one of those clothesline wire, popped from that lawnmower, shoot out, hit me dead in the leg. And I was bleeding profusely. And I think my mom and some people in my family got real scared because they couldn't get it out. It was like stuck in there. Like like in the bones, like stuck in the bones. And I was bleeding non-stop. The grass was full of blood. They had to put me in a car. I had to go to the hospital, to the emergency room rather. Well, and I had to get two towels covered on me. And I remember the towels were soaked in blood. And I think they were scared because they thinking they might hit an artery. So went to the ER. I had that taken out of. I guess they kind of did some kind of a surgical remove it. I don't know. And for the whole summer, because I hardly couldn't even play the whole summer. That was, oh man, because I was in pain at times. I had to take medication for the pain. And in due time, as the years progress, it healed and healed and healed. Even as of right now, I can still feel it in my leg. Not feel it, but I can still touch it and feel the place where it was at. Even if I scratch it, I can't feel that pain because I think it killed a nerve. But it healed. It looked like nothing hit it. I mean, it feels like I never had that wound. But if you were to look close into it, you'll still see that small scar, and you can still feel it if you touch it. That because time may actually heal it. Of course, with the assistance of medication and some kind of ointment I was using and wraps. But as time progressed, I just say I'm like, I can't feel it no more. I won't feel no pain no more because time heals wounds. But there may be a situation where you might get into a serious accident where you might get amputated. Of course, you no longer have that leg or arm or anything. But as time progressed, you're able to cope with using one of your limb. You're able to cope with maybe losing a pinky finger. It might be hurting. May have hurt when you lost it, or it may be shocking and everything. You can't believe that happened to you. But when time progresses, you're able to cope with it and manage it, despite of you not having your leg back anymore. You still able to cope through life like you did. You probably won't do the same thing you did, but in due time, you'll learn to accept the situation for what it is. So the moral of this story is, in life, no matter how hard or hurt you've been, life goes on, and within due time, it seems as if that never happened to you because the feelings you have for somebody or something that happened, or you losing a loved one, or you might go through a breakup or divorce. It seems as if you never dated that person, but you have like sweet memories of it, bittersweet memories. You think back and kind of say, "Oh yeah, you know what?" If somebody mentioned that name, you might say, I used to date somebody named that age, and man, that was some relationship." Then within moments, you'll forget about that. You wouldn't be harp on it and saying and think more about them because of time. Or you might say, "You know what? Like with my case, my grandmother used to have fun gardening. She used to love fishing." And within moments, you'll think about it as a good sweet memory, and then you wouldn't forget about her passing because over time you learn to cope with it and you learn to accept it. Acceptance is the last rule of dealing with depression. Is accepting or losing anything. like they say. If I'm not mistaken, I think the order is denial, rejection, grief, then I gotta do some research on it. I'm sorry, but I know the last part of it is accepting. When you accept things for what it is, accept the terms of it, you be able to move on with your life because life goes on. Tell me what you think about this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And you know, I'm happy that I'm able to relay this information to y'all. And if any of y'all ever feel like you depressed or you're anything, if you feel hurt or pain, you're not alone. I experienced it as well. And just like with anything else, time heals things.